Hi there. I'd like to talk a little bit about what former Vice President Dick Cheney has been saying recently. He's been speaking to a number of audiences, largely conservative audiences, of course, and outright saying that the policies of the Obama administration are making our country less safe than it was under the Bush administration. Personally, I think that's complete bollocks. It's not like the Department of Homeland Security has suddenly disappeared. There haven't been any real major shifts in preventative measures, unless that's what you want to call waterboarding, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And for anyone who says that waterboarding isn't torture, well, then you ought to be willing to subject yourself to it and tell us firsthand whether or not you think it's torture. Our friend Sean Hannity over at Fox News had volunteered to do it for some sort of charitable event, and then he backed out. So what does that say about him? What has me most concerned about Mr. Cheney's comments is that I think he might be putting into place what's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. In a nutshell, a self-fulfilling prophecy is where someone predicts that something will happen, and by making that prediction, sets off a chain of events that leads to that thing happening. In Mr. Cheney's case, when he says things like, oh, the nation is less safe, we're more susceptible to an attack, well, words like that could very well embolden a terrorist. Someone, they could be out there monitoring the news, as they do. Hey, you know, the vice president is saying that America is less safe. You know, their guard's down. You know, why don't we, you know, looks like the time's right. You know, let's go ahead and jump on it. Let's go do another 9/11. And if they were to go and do that, it would result in the fears that Mr. Cheney is bringing up again by making these claims. What exactly is he trying to get out of this politically? I hear him say these things, and I look at what the Republican Party is doing, which is basically more of the same, and it just doesn't seem like they're doing themselves any favors by rallying themselves around statements like that. I'm going to say something now that some people might find offensive, and that's okay, because it's not a pleasant idea. I think that people are thinking it, and I'm just going to put a voice to it. I sincerely think that among the people who call themselves conservatives in this country, I think the people who are the most extreme on that end of the spectrum, and I'm going to come out and say a minority, if there's any shred of decency among them, a minority, are secretly hoping for another terrorist attack on our country, for another 9/11. Not because they want bad things to happen to the people of this country, but because they are indifferent to what happens to the people of this country. Because they want that terrorist attack to happen in order to give them some political capital. They want to be able to say, well, we were safe after 9/11, but then President Obama got elected, and on his watch there was another attack. And that would give them a reason to rally the troops and get President Obama out of office in 2012. It's a sick thought, I know. I'm just telling you, I think there are people out there who are thinking that. If they're watching this, you should be ashamed of yourselves. But it's really not that far removed from the way the Bush administration politicized 9/11. Bottom line, I wish Mr. Cheney would take a page from George W. Bush's playbook and just mind his own business. Listen, I'm all for the First Amendment and freedom of speech. And Mr. Cheney is free to say whatever he wants in whatever forum to whatever audience. But I think what he is saying is dangerous. I think he is doing his country a disservice with the words that he is choosing.